This is Susan Bassey, and for once the camera was turned on me for a bit. Mark the process server and I took a detour from Santa Clara and Sonoma counties to go to the California Supreme Court, which is located in San Francisco. The Supreme Court in California is responsible for all the attorneys and attorney misconduct and the state bar. They're responsible for divorce attorneys, for private attorneys that work as private judges, and they're also responsible for government attorneys. And specifically, Tani Cantil Sakahui served as the Chief Justice in the state of California from 2010 until 2022, when the scandal related to Thomas Giardi and private judges broke loose. And instead of doing something to fix the problem and the public corruption that arose as a result of Thomas Giardi, Tani Cantil Sakahui resigned and went to work in private judging herself.
And people who have legal degrees and legal knowledge take advantage of people who are not represented or not versed in the law that well.
And while bad attorneys might cost people privately, when bad attorneys work for the government and are paid by taxpayers, the harm they can unleash on the residents who pay them can be even more problematic. And we're back in Sonoma County at the County Counsel office trying to get our police records when the Sheriff's Department said they didn't have them.
Hi, can I help you?
Yes, I was at the Sheriff's Department and I'm looking for the roster of your Sheriff's Department, and they said they do not have that record available. And I'm not requesting under the California Public Records Act that requires me to wait 10 days. I'd like access to inspect it right now. I'm working on a project up here. I'm up in Sonoma County, and I just need a roster of all the deputies in the county. I just need their names. There's got to be some kind of list, and the Sheriff's Department didn't have that list, so I'm asking at County Counsel.
You're asking us if we have a list of sheriff deputies?
Yes, I'm asking for the record under the California Public Records Access Law for access to the records of the roster of the Sheriff's Department.
At this time, we do not have a list of sheriff deputies. That would be something that you would obtain through the sheriff's office.
Okay, so they don't have it. So County Council's ultimately responsible for compliance with California Public Records Act. I'm just asking for a list of all of the names of the employees in the Sheriff's Department. Who would have that list? The Sheriff's Department says they don't have it, which is baffling to me, but County Council is over them. I just want to know how I get a roster, and I don't want to wait 10 days. I'm asking for access to it.
Okay, just a moment.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're okay.
I don't either. My mother used to say the same thing.
I'm just sitting here waiting for some records. Hi. I just asked them for some records. Are you here to deal with that?
Yes, she said that you had a request, and so.
So my request is for the roster of your Sheriff's Department.
Okay, we don't have that. The sheriff's office should have that.
They just told me they didn't, and you're the attorneys over the Sheriff's
I
office.
can most certainly connect with them directly. I can connect you with them directly. I can be the.
I've already been in there, talked to all the supervisors all the way up. They went to personnel, and they told me they didn't have it.
Do you have a name or contact information?
My name is Susan
I
Bassey.
don't have anything to write with me. Hello? Let me grab something so I can.
Okay,
write the name
certainly.
down.
And what this attorney already did wrong was ask for my name. There is case law that was issued out of the Court of Appeal in San Jose, California, that stands to say that any individual who is asking for public records has a right to get that information without seeking to identify. And this case was brought against the Santa Clara County Sheriff that was defended by County Counsel and Ravel at the time, and it was also brought against the City of San Jose and Los Gatos, and the cases were all consolidated, and taxpayers had to pay all the litigation costs and the attorney's fees for the government attorneys being wrong when it came to public records. So I'm only here today, and I'm needing that list. I need the list in case I'm going to be interviewing some people and everything, and if I run into deputies, I want to be able to have the list. I'm asking to access and inspect it, so California Public Records Act has either the 10-day rule or the immediate access and inspect, and that's what I'm asking for. I just want, somewhere there has to be a list of who we employ in the Sheriff's Department.
Sure. So I can take your request. I'm going to connect with the sheriff's office directly. I'm going to forward your request. I cannot guarantee that they are going to respond right away.
Okay.
Generally speaking, even under the California Public Records Act, the response time is 10 days.
No, I'm trying to explain that. Under 6253 subsection, and I believe it's D, it says the public has a right to walk in, access, inspect, and copy records. In California, attorneys are required to know the law, and government attorneys should especially know the law related to public records. And yet we find more and more of these records being concealed in databases and employees coming up with excuses not to give access or the right to inspect and copy those records during normal business hours. Government Code 6253, Section A, sets forth the right of the public, not just journalists, to walk in and access and inspect these public records. And Government Code 6200 actually says that any employee working for any of these agencies that alters, conceals, delays, obstructs, or destroys public records is guilty of a crime.
If the record is available and immediately available right there.
It doesn't say that. And if you're concealing it in databases because we're going paperless or whatever, that's not our problem. I need the record. So
Within reasonable time, absolutely. the
during
sheriff's
normal business
office
hours,
will-
and I asked before lunchtime.
Can pull those records and can email those to you as soon as they're available.
I'm going to wait.
You can wait. I cannot make any promises that that's going to happen right now, today, within the next hour. What I can do, of course, is to make sure that your request is going to get routed to them. I'm going to tell them that I talked to you, that you would like to have them as soon as possible. But, I don't have that list, so I can relay your message, and I'm
I
more
understand.
than happy to do that.
Are you county counsel?
Yes.
Are you an attorney?
Yes.
What is your name?
My name is Petra.
Petra?
Yes.
So I'm sure you understand the Public Records
I do,
Act.
I do.
So I'm not asking under the 10-day production.
Okay.
So
You're asking under the Public Records Act.
I am, and I'm really looking at how all counties are complying with that aspect of the law, is that we get moving records into databases. That is not a public problem, that is a technology problem that somehow we have to accommodate. My job as a reporter is really hard, and so I'm just simply asking for one lousy record that I
Yeah.
need today to do my job.
Yeah.
So
Again, all I can do is forward your request.
I want you to understand the law, and
I appreciate that, and I understand you're making a Public Records Act request, and we will treat it as that. If
I'm
normal
not
business
asking for just a Records Act. I'm asking for the access, and the Public Records Act does accommodate that. So I just want to be really clear what I'm asking for.
I understand what you are asking
Okay.
for, and I'm saying we will process your request as we would normally process these requests.
Okay,
And that's what I'm gonna do right now, and I'm gonna let them know that you were here.
okay, I'm
And
going to
then
wait
this
over
is-
here.
I don't have that list right now. You can certainly wait here, but
You have my cell phone number, and I'm going to be waiting all day until I get that record.
You can certainly wait. Again, I have no influence about how staff processes records over there. So I'm gonna relay your request. I'm gonna say it's urgent. I'm gonna do all of the best I can. But
I'm not waiting for production, I'm waiting for access,
it-
and it's
that's-
normal business hours,
Okay, I understand. So, the email is good and your cell phone here is.
and I'm going to be here.
As I said, you are more than welcome to sit and wait, but I cannot guarantee that anything.
I get it.
Ready by then.
I get it, but then the county needs to be looking at their policy, because any member of the public should be able to walk in and at least get the list of who's employed in the sheriff's department.
And again, I will look into that and see if we can get this to you.
Do you have a list of who's employed in the county council?
Do we have a list? We have a list, yeah,
I'd like that list too then.
of the people that are employed with county
Yes,
council.
yes.
Maria. Forgot my badge, but now she doesn't let me. There you go. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
And it turns out that county council attorneys are just as bad as police officers when it comes to explaining the law. And so let's be clear that not only do these county council attorneys defend police officers, defend bad public records responses, but they also appear to be in charge of writing settlement agreements for bad cops. This is an article that was published by the San Francisco Chronicle on the very day that I was in Sonoma County, and it's an article that explains how gypsy cops basically go from one department to another based on agreements that are written by county council that keeps the public from knowing what's going on with these police officers. I'm going to put a link to the article down below because it's so important to understand how attorneys are protecting bad police officers at taxpayer expense.
Retire. You've bought this house for $137,000.
Right.
And what happens?
What happens is, we're living peacefully there, right? Raising the 2 kids.
And while we waited for the public records from county council, I interviewed an old firefighter from Santa Rosa and a fire captain from San Francisco who had retired in Sonoma County. He's struggling with some code enforcement issues, which we'll get to in a second. But code enforcement, like the sheriff, like the district attorney, like all the other agencies in a county, are under the jurisdiction and management of county council. And while we were conducting our interview, the attorney working for the county came out and gave me the records for county council, but I still never got those records for the sheriff's department roster. And once you get the records for county council, you can look up on Transparent California to see how much the attorneys working in that department make. That's not really the law, and that's not how it's supposed to work, and that's not how public policy intends. But we'll have to deal with that separately. And in the meantime, we need to be figuring out how many other police departments won't produce the roster of who they employ when somebody walks in and asks for that record.
I'm a reporter.
And next up, based on my interview with the retired firefighter, was the Building and Permits Department of the county, also overseen by county council. And here, we've been hearing a lot of complaints about code enforcement. Those are the property police that go out and start to issue fines and other sanctions against property owners and businesses in the county.
Hi, are you Tyra?
Tira.
Tira, hi. My name's Susan, and I'm doing a little story about code enforcement online. I have various platforms, so depending on, I don't know how I'm going to use this yet. I was here on another issue, and the incident where I'm getting a story where there was someone where you went out for code enforcement on a property, and I'm trying to follow the process of how somebody could have liens placed on their home, put in receivership, and everything else. And so I understand that you were in charge of code enforcement.
I am in charge of code.
And that you directly did one of your investigations.
I have staff, code enforcement inspectors that go out and do inspections, yes.
So the one that I'm investigating, you did it yourself. You didn't have
I
inspectors.
don't go out in the field typically, so I don't know what information you're getting, but that doesn't sound correct. I'm the
Okay.
manager, I don't typically go out in the field.
Miss Harrington is both an attorney and an MBA. Her statement wasn't entirely accurate because we have been provided photographs that show her going out on properties as code enforcement that she later has issued large fines, fees, and sanctions based on false information. And this appears to be an effort to take over ownership of the property for the benefit of the county. And Miss Harrington also works under the management and supervision of county council. And if anything, when we get through, we hope you teach you not to talk to police officers and to never allow code enforcement on your property.